Thanks for staying with us. And every now and then we get a really special guest here on Channel 44 on the Sports Show. None bigger than this lady in South Australia. She is one of the leading jockeys here. We talk about Claire Lindop, and she's been good enough to drop in and see us. Claire, how are you going?
Very good, guys. Thank you for having me on the show.
It's been a big week, hasn't it? I mean, Smythe doesn't normally get involved in horse racing.
I thought he was going to throw to me with that intro, but no.
No. You're soon
We're going to the big names. We've gone to the big names.
I tell you, even Phil, we start to talk horse racing, you know, the Spring Carnival's just gone, Claire, but even though you weren't in Melbourne, it's still a big time of the year for the industry. It's huge.
Definitely. I think everyone loves Spring Racing Carnival, and just coming out of footy season, it's nice to sort of put on some nice clothes and get out and about and enjoy it. And I think Derby Day is possibly the specialist day for me, even prior to my big win in 2008 in the Derby. But just it's a sense of anticipation, and you know, I think this week really did deliver. I think this year the Melbourne Cup went global. It was fantastic.
All right, talk about the Melbourne Cup. Riding at Flemington, you've been good enough to do that many times.
Ridden in the Cup 3 times.
3 times, just showing off. Tell us about the first time. What was it like?
The first time I rode in the Melbourne Cup was 2003. Just want to make clear, I was actually the first Australian female, which did create history, but 2 girls had ridden it prior to me. I think
1987, we had Marie Linden, and 89, Linda Ballantyne, the Kiwi girls, but Claire's first Aussie, so she takes the crown.
This whole show is not going to be about women versus men, is it? Can we just talk about the horses?
I think we have to acknowledge that it was history created,
Sure.
But I do agree with you. I didn't want to go down the big path of men versus women, because I think it's sort of, you know, I think everyone agrees here that with our own industry, it's very much accepted, and you really are one of the boys when you're out there in the field, or perhaps they're one of the girls. But I think, for me, I think the Melbourne Cup is an absolute life changer. It's an absolute amazing race. In 2003, a lot of people don't know, I finished my apprenticeship, actually ridden about 100 winners, but I still claimed 3 kilos in the city as an apprentice. I only rode 15 city winners. So it took me a little while to re-establish myself as a senior female rider, and my break came about with Leon McDonald giving me a chance. And I think with anyone, when you have that association with the horse, and Michelle showed this on Tuesday, when you know a horse and you believe in it, sometimes the best jockey in the world isn't the best jockey for you. And Leon giving me a chance and putting me on horses in big races has really given me my opportunity and my chance to take that to the winning stall, I suppose. But 2003 came about with a horse called Debon, who had qualified for the Melbourne Cup in Adelaide in a lead-up race in our carnival. And she was right down the list, and she only just got into the field. And when Leon announced to the world on Saturday that I was a jockey, you know, it was basically I screamed like a little girl. It literally was a dream come true. Yeah. And the whirlwind that followed that really did change my life. It was amazing, you know, the media attention that I received for that. And perhaps, you know, in some ways being a female actually lifted my profile, so I have to sort of accept that as well. Perhaps a guy getting a ride who ran down the track wouldn't have been such a noticeable big deal, and maybe it wouldn't have had the effect it had on me, but my world changed. It was like overnight people knew who I was, and if I could ride the Melbourne Cup, I must be able to ride. And that year I went on to ride 111 winners in a season,
wow.
My best ever.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? And I think there was a decade or so ago a novelty about a woman being part of the race. Now it's generally accepted that they compete on an even playing field, and her winning it, I think, puts a stake in the ground that, you know what, this is it, let's all move on. But what I like about it is I think it makes obvious for women who want to get involved in the sport, there is a pathway.
There is a
you
career.
can be successful. You can actually be the Queen of Flemington rather than the King of Flemington. And I think there was a lot of upside to it. You know, I know you're not a big one for males and females, and I agree, because it's all about the horses.
We're all riders.
Yeah, but I really liked what it gave to the industry. I think it gave a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I think that if you consider what I term carnival jockeys, like a Damien Oliver who's been around for a long time, and they do travel the circuit with all the carnivals, hence they go to Perth for summer, down to Tasmania, off to
Sounds like a hard life.
New South Wales for the autumn carnival, off to Brisbane, and then, you know, spring. They sort of what I call the carnival jockeys. And I think for, Michelle breaking into that will actually get a female into that top bracket. And I sort of describe it like movie stars, you know, like I was talking about my break with Leon. Like, you know, you might be a director with a good script, and you have, you know, Brad Pitt ring up and want to be the lead part, you know, but you might have had a young up and coming actor in mind. Who do you go with?
Yeah,
it's got to have that someone take that chance. And now I think Michelle's sort of proven to. Perhaps anyone with a horse in a big race, that you don't have to always have a big name rider, and I think that's probably one of the exciting things for me.
You talk about Leon McDonald with a real fondness, don't you? I mean, the fact that he gave you that opportunity, the fact that you've had an ongoing relationship, how did it start?
Well, possibly was in 2003 with Devon. I rode a little bit for Leon then because his other riders weren't lightweight riders, and with 2001, 2003, our minimum weights were about 51 kilos.
Wow.
I rode
Glad
Devon
I wasn't riding then.
I rode Devon in the Melbourne Cup at 49 kilos.
Wow.
So, you know, I think, I'm quite fortunate that I've always been a lightweight rider to get those opportunities. But yeah, I think that Leon's actually been a big supporter of female riders even prior to me. He had quite a few apprentices who were females back in the 80s, and they were the real pioneers of our time. But yeah, I think we've gelled really well. I like riding work for Leon. We have a good team. He has 40 horses in work there at Morphettville Racecourse. His co-trainer now is Andrew Lewis, his son-in-law, and he has a really good team. And I think that he appreciates someone to be there and get a horse that might have come from the breakers as a young horse and get that horse up into racing. And I enjoy that sort of side of it.
When she's saying that she's there every day. There's quite a few jockeys that don't turn up every day, but Claire's there, rain, hail, or shine. So.
I want to ask
take it through the week.
Yeah, well, not so much because we're probably going to run out of time because we've got too many questions. But an afternoon without racing, as opposed to race day, can you tell us what you do an afternoon without
media
races?
appearances.
You do those really well. Yep, really well.
Yeah, we race probably, people don't realise we probably race 3 or 4 times a week in South Australia. And so on my downtime, it's really doing everything else that you might do in your life because mostly weekends we race now. Yeah. But I have a house in Brighton. I'm lucky enough to have a house there, a couple of dogs, and always got a garden and I love taking the dogs out for a walk on the beach. It's my favourite thing to do at relaxing time.
On race day? What time does it start? What time does it start? An average. Let's go on a Saturday. What's an average Saturday race day?
Yeah, track opens at 4:30. I usually get there at 5 o'clock in the morning. I might have to ride about.
You might think about resetting your watch. Because you're getting there way too early.
Half a dozen horses in the morning in their work that I might do. Because even though it's a Saturday race day, the horses that I ride and work on Saturday morning are running next Wednesday or next Thursday, so it's sort of continuing flowing. And then I'll get home for I do actually lucky enough to have a little bit of breakfast, normally just a little bit of yoga or something, and rest and get ready for the races. And I get to the races probably about 11 in the morning, an hour before my first ride, ready to prepare for the day. And generally speaking, my manager's done a good job. I normally have a full book or close to it,
She's dating the manager.
which is 8 rides in a program. So you can have a really full day. You're not home till sort of 6, 7 o'clock at night sometimes.
So you're putting in a 14-hour day. It's a 14-hour day.
Race days are big days. So when you have a day off like a Friday or a Monday, it's nice to sort of get that bit of R&R in.
Okay, 2009 Rebel Raider. Is that your favourite ride?
Yeah, it is, definitely. I mean, when I won the 2006 Adelaide Cup, that's a really big highlight, but I think winning a Group 1 during the Melbourne Spring Carnival, it's just amazing.
On a horse you had a good partnership with.
Exactly.
That's it. Well, look, there's so much we could talk about. We'll probably have to continue this at another time because we're running out of time, Claire, but thanks so much for coming in and what has been a big week for Australian racing. It's been terrific.
My pleasure. Let's do a preview for Adelaide Cup next year.
Let's do that. We should do.
We'll do that. We've got to take a break. We'll be back with more in a moment.